Hi there, my name's Drew Smith and I am a coach that supports people as they unfold into life. And on this week's Unfolding Insights, I'd like to explore the golden algorithm and how it keeps us blocked and how we might actually remove that block. So, have you ever found yourself wanting to avoid a particular outcome in work or in life, and then having precisely that outcome come to pass? Let me give you an example of what I mean. It's my friend's birthday, and a week out, they tell me they're going to have a party. They'd love for me to come. But it's a busy time of year. I'm already committed to 2 events on the day in question, and one social event is usually more than enough for this neurospicy brain of mine. But I love this person and they love me, and I don't want to disappoint them, much less feel the shame of disappointing them. So rather than giving them a clear, empowered and grateful no to the invitation, I hedge. I tell them I might be able to come, I'll have to see on the day, but please, whatever you do, don't plan around me. I avoid making the decision. Guess what happens? My friend is disappointed. I can feel it so deep in my system that my breathing gets shallow, my vision narrows, and I start to shake. And what comes after that? A huge wave of shame that, like some twisted bonus prize, I transmute into vindictiveness back towards my friend. I sweat on it for days, feeling the negativity of the interaction pulse through me. What a fucking mess. Here's the thing, in avoiding my friend's invitation, I'd invited precisely the outcome that I was trying to avoid, and a whole lot more. It's an example of what Joe Hudson calls the golden algorithm, and it underpins so many of the recurring challenges that we face in our lives. Here's how it works. Number 1, there's an emotion that we want to avoid. For example, the shame of disappointing someone. Number 2, we take action to make that emotion go away. So we hedge rather than speak our truth and risk disappointing someone. Number 3, we recreate that emotion that we want to avoid. The person is disappointed because you're not being honest with them. Number 4, we repeat the cycle ad infinitum unless we set about gently disrupting it. And here's one way you might go about that task. Firstly, it can be helpful to bring some awareness to where you're running into a recurring problem in life. For me, the fear of my decisions disappointing others and hedging my bets has been a long-running challenge that shows up in all sorts of different places. Secondly, identify what emotions you're trying to avoid by not making a decision. In my case, it's the guilt of disappointing someone and the fear of their judgment for not making them a priority in my life. Also, I was trying not to feel the overwhelm and exhaustion from overcommitting myself to social events. It can also be helpful to explore the root of these emotions too, to recognize that we've been living with them for a long old time so that we might treat them with a degree of compassion and empathy. Who did you learn them from? And what were they trying to protect you from back then? In my case, whose judgment did I fear? My parents. Why? Because I was afraid of feeling abandoned by them. Thirdly, experiment with the idea that either outcome is a certainty, because it most certainly is. Then, what would you do? In my case, I could either risk disappointing my friend or I could exhaust myself. If I ran into this scenario again, I know I'd choose my health. I have clarity now. Finally, explore what happens when you simply welcome those emotions rather than avoid them. What lessons do they have? For me, it's clear how much I care for my friend and how important it is for me to work with my energy levels rather than against them. The genius of this last stage is that when it comes to communicating the outcome of a decision, it's possible to do so from a place of compassion for those impacted by the decision and from a place of personal empowerment. In my case, I can speak from compassion because I've fully felt into the sadness and the disappointment that my decision might cause, and I can openly acknowledge that. At the same time, I can speak from a place of empowerment because I know that honoring my truth, that I need to take care of my health, is more important than the risk of disappointing a friend. So rather than hedging, I might say to my friend, thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate it. I can't be there, but I'd love to arrange another time to celebrate with you. On paper, that looks like and sounds like such a simple, obvious outcome. But for a long-time people pleaser like me, that kind of clarity is a breath of fresh air. Once you grok the golden algorithm, you can see its presence at the core of so many of the recurring challenges that we face. By bringing some wonder and empathy to our exploration of what it is that we're trying not to feel, rather than trying to exclude those feelings and ultimately failing, we can start to welcome those emotions as part of our decision-making process. And when we do that, we can find far greater ease with how our life unfolds. If you'd like to explore how the golden algorithm might be showing up in your work and your life and holding you back, I'd love to explore that with you too. Get in touch to arrange an initial coaching session.